Welcome everybody, welcome to another webinar for the Global Education Virtual Expo. We've got an exciting opportunity for you all here to listen into and to get involved and ask your questions. It's one of our favorite partners here with the Nottingham Trent University. We've got Annabel and Richie here who are from the university who will speak directly to you and discuss what life's like there at the university and the different opportunities that are there. We do have quite a large audience signing in today. We have over 85 people signed up for this webinar, which I think is a testament to Nottingham. So give us a couple minutes and we can sort of let Annabel and Richie start and go from there. Just some housekeeping for today's webinar. Please put all your Q&As or questions and questions in the chat box area or in the Q&A section. And then we'll get to that throughout the webinar and have that discussion afterwards, as everybody's used to how Global runs their webinars now. Annabel and Richie, we got quite a large uptake already, so I think you guys can start and people can just sort of sign in and see how we go.
Okay, brilliant.
So I'll hand over to the two of you.
Thank you, George.
Thank you.
So as George introduced me, my name is Annabel. So I am the Senior International Officer at Nottingham Trent University, specifically for sub-Saharan Africa. So I think most of you will probably be tuning in from South Africa. So what Richie and I do, and I'm sure Richie will explain a little bit more as well, is we assist students from South Africa and like I said, the rest of sub-Saharan Africa with their applications to us or with any inquiries or any questions. And then we take you kind of throughout the journey. So all the way through meeting all of those conditions to coming to the UK and then actually meeting you when you're in the UK, and we're kind of your main point of contact. So what we're going to do today is go through a little bit more about the university, hopefully give you enough information to answer any questions that you have. But if you have more questions, please do feel free to put them in the Q&A, as George said, and we'll have a discussion at the end and hopefully answer any questions and queries that you have. So I'll go ahead and start. So as you can see, this is Nottingham Trent University. So it kind of looks a little bit like Hogwarts, some might say, but this is actually the oldest part of the university. So if you have done any research on NTU, as we call it, you might have realised that it is a modern university, but this is where it first originated. So whilst we're a modern university, we do have a long history. So we started in, I think, 1843, and we established as a College of Art and Design. And then we grew over the years, and then we've been kind of a university in the truest sense for the last 30 plus years. So what you can see here is originally our College of Art and Design. So we are famous for art and design still, but we have many, many different subjects that we offer. This is now our School of Architecture, but you will see throughout the presentation more pictures of the campuses, and you'll see how modern they are and the millions of pounds that we've kind of spent and pumped into the university. And that's one of the things that students really love about it. It's the campus itself and the environment and the atmosphere. So in terms of where you would study, if you were to study with us, if you are familiar with the UK, Nottingham is right in the heart of the UK. So we're about 2 hours away from London, so that's on the train, so just under 2 hours. But we're also really close to lots of other major cities. So for example, Birmingham is our closest international airport. We have Manchester, which is about an hour away. So it's a really great location to kind of explore the UK on your weekends and things like that. And there's a population of about 330,000 people in Nottingham. So that's, I would say, a medium-sized city for the UK. But of that 330,000, there's 60,000 students. So that's 30,000 students at our university and 30,000 students at the University of Nottingham. So it's a really kind of student-focused young population, which is great if you're studying with us. So the city is kind of basically focused on students. So in terms of the shops, in terms of the nightlife and things like that, it's all geared up to students, which makes it really, really nice for you to kind of live there, and take advantage of all of that. So there's kind of a relaxed vibe. There's all of the big chains and things like that in terms of shopping, but there's also lots of independent eateries and shops and things like that. So what you can see here is Market Square. So Market Square is about 5-minute walk from the city campus, and this is where all the major events take place. So what's really nice about Nottingham is that it's a medium-sized city, but it's quite compact. So you can really walk around everywhere, which is great. So over to Richie.
Thank you, Annabel. So hi, everyone, and welcome to this presentation. So I'm just going to take over from this point and talk to you a little bit about NTU and our awards. So NTU has achieved lots of different awards and has got lots of recognition in different areas. So we're just going to go through a few slides now just to tell you a little bit more about those. Thank you, Annabel. So why NTU? That's the big question. So you can see on here just some headline facts and figures about why you should choose NTU. So you may have seen, if you've looked on our website or spoken to us directly, we did win University of the Year in 2019. So as Annabel mentioned in her introduction, we've put a lot of money and resources into improving the university and making the facilities the very best that they can be for our students. So that's testament to the University of the Year 2019 award. We're also a Guardian Top 20 University, as in the Guardian University Guide in 2020. So that just kind of shows the ranking that NTU has. You can also see the student satisfaction scores and the recommendations in the National Student Survey. So that just gives you a little bit of an idea about NTU. In terms of the popularity of NTU, we're really, really popular. So we're first in the UK for the number of accepted offers in 2020, 2019, and back to 2018 as well. So basically what this means is the number of students that have been made an offer and have then gone on to accept and choose NTU as their first choice. So we're also top 5 for the number of accepted offers in 19 different subjects across the board. So that is kind of links in with the first one, in that we're a very, very popular choice, as you can see, with the 10th most applied for university in the UK in 2020 and 2019. So when you take into account there's at least 120 universities in the UK, you can kind of see the number of applications that we receive. In terms of our rankings, you can see on the left the top 10 rankings and the top 20 on the right. So I'm not going to go into too much detail because I'm sure you've all got lots of different course interests, different things that you're interested in, but you can find all of this information on the Guardian University website, which there is a link provided on that slide. But you can also just go ahead onto our website, go on our course search tool, and it will tell you if it's got a ranking in the top 5, the top 10, or the top 20 for that specific course. In terms of teaching and learning, so we have been awarded the Gold Award. So basically this is split into gold, silver, bronze, and then below that there's no award. So this is something that the government assesses universities on in terms of the quality of their teaching. We were awarded the very top. So this is not something that all universities do achieve. So it's something that we're really, really proud of, and means that you're going to get the very best outcomes from your experience at NTU. And then moving on to our accreditation. So a lot of our courses are accredited by professional or statutory bodies. So this means that you can get some exemptions or additional qualifications if your course does have these. So I know that, for example, you can see the RIBA, the RIBA, which is associated with our architecture courses. This gives you something extra on your qualification at the end of your studies. But it's not just related to architecture. It could be, for example, a law course, a business course. Again, if you head across to the course search page and look at the courses that you're interested in, it will list the accreditations on that specific page for that specific course. I'll hand back to you, Annabel.
Thank you, Richie. So we've talked a little bit about Nottingham as a city, but in terms of where you'll study on our campus, it depends on which course you're studying. So we have 9 different academic schools. So we cover a huge range of subject areas across the 3 campuses. So you can find out a little bit more about the courses by visiting the website that you can see on the screen. Our main campus is the city campus. So I mentioned that's about 5 minutes walk from the city centre in terms of Market Square, but it's surrounded by the shops and the bars and the restaurants. So it's really great in terms of a location. It's our biggest campus, so there's about 16,000 students on the city campus, and it's home to a number of our biggest schools. So for example, the Business School, the School of Art and Design, the School of Architecture, Design and the Built Environment, the Law School, Social Sciences, and also the Centre for Broadcast Journalism. So there's a wide range of courses that you would study on city campus. As well as these schools, there's also the big Students' Union that's actually award-winning. So Byron is basically a fairly new building, which is our Students' Union, and that's where all of the kind of social activities take place, as well as sports. So there's a gym there. There's also a kind of Olympic-sized sports hall as well. And it's a place where you can just chill out, grab a coffee, have a meeting with friends and things like that. And as well as that, there's accommodation on the campus, and there's a student shop, there's lots of cafes. So everywhere you'll go, you'll see a Starbucks or a Costa Coffee or something like that. So you're never going to be short of caffeine. So there's everything for you. So some universities might be kind of like a city-based university in the way that sort of university buildings are scattered around the city centre, but they're not actually all together. Or some universities are campus-based in that they have all the facilities like I've kind of just described. What's really unique about our city campus is that it is, of course, a city campus, as the name suggests, but it's a campus in itself in that everything is together. So that's quite rare for you to find that, and that's why students really love studying on this particular campus. Our second biggest campus is Clifton Campus. So this one has about 8,000 students, and it's home to the School of Arts and Humanities, Science and Technology, and the Nottingham Institute of Education. The biggest school is the School of Science and Technology, so it's kind of thought of as the science campus and also the sports campus. And the reason for that is that all of the big sports pitches are here. So if you are into sports, you're going to have all your different playing fields and pitches and things like that. So 4G pitches, we've got a huge tennis centre, we've got a huge gym as well. So if you like sports, that's where you could either study if you're doing one of these courses, or if you're studying on a different campus, then you'll go over perhaps on a Wednesday afternoon, which is when in the UK all the sports teams get together and play and things like that. So it's a really diverse campus, and it's based about 20 minutes outside of the city centre. So what you can do is you could either choose to live on this campus, because again there is accommodation here, or you could choose to live in the city if you'd rather, and then you can just go over for your lectures. What you'll get at the start of the year is a bus pass, and there's an NTU bus that runs every kind of 20 minutes or so. So it makes it really easy for you to make that choice and for you to kind of get between the different campuses. We've invested millions of pounds into this campus over the past few years. So you can see here, this is an example of one of our kind of modern buildings. So this area here is kind of like a general space, which has a big cafe, a big refectory, and then some like general teaching purpose rooms as well. And then what you can't see is all of the kind of science buildings. So if you are interested in science, whether that's something like biomedical science or whether you're into mechanical engineering, for example, we have kind of industry standard labs that you'll be working in. And all of our courses are very practical as well. So the facilities are second to none. And if you are into kind of the science side of things, then you're going to be spending on average about 30 to 40% of your time in practical lessons, as opposed to kind of sitting and doing exams or being in lectures and things like that. So that's really popular with our students. And then our final campus is Brackenhurst campus. So this is based about 40 minutes outside of the city centre. And again, there's a regular bus service that you can get. this is quite a niche campus. So it's home to our School of Animal, Rural and Environmental Sciences. So we do things like zoo biology and various different things. So if that's what you're into, then it's literally the perfect campus for you, because there's a working farm, there's a reptile unit, and all sorts of different things there. And it's really, really beautiful. So I think it's about either 200 or 300 hectares of countryside that it's set on. And again, there's all the accommodation there, there's a students' union, there's a restaurant and things like that. So it's really lovely. So even if you're not studying on this campus, then I'd recommend that you go over and you visit, because it's really nice on like a sunny day to just get out there, get into the countryside. So that is our final campus, and I think that has around 1,000 or 1,500 students on there. So I'm going to pass over to Richie, and he's going to tell you a little bit more about what you can do outside of your studies.
Thank you, Annabel. So I'm sure Annabel will agree with me on this, but what you can do outside of your studies is really important, because, you know, we would say it's not just about the degree that you're getting, but also the kinds of opportunities that you can get involved in as a student as well. So to start off, we'll talk about jobs. So I'm guessing that some of you may have a career or a plan in mind for once you've graduated from university. You may not, well, that's completely fine. But 97% of our graduates are in employment or further studies within 6 months of graduating. That's from our most recent data. So we do a lot of one-year work placements, which are available on a lot of our undergraduate courses. We find that our students really like this option because it gives them the chance to kind of put into practice what they've learned in the university setting into a real world work placement. So it's a really good opportunity. So, you know, we do encourage our students to explore this. It's not for everybody, but it's a really, really good option. Again, that will be noted on the course page if it does have that work placement option. You can also do shorter work placements and gain some practical experience. So that there are different opportunities involved in that as well, which our employability team can support you with. But we're in the top 10 in the UK for the number of year-long placements that are offered. So we do have a lot of variety and a lot of options with regards to that. Again, as I mentioned earlier, the courses, many of them are accredited by professional bodies. So it does mean you get that kind of extra thing on your certificate at the end, or an extra qualification. And as Annabel mentioned, for example, with science and technology, you get to use the top-notch facilities. And we really want our students to be using those and gaining that full experience. We do also have partnerships with over 6,000 companies. So obviously this supports in your development going forward, maybe in terms of graduate jobs. But we do also support you if you're looking at part-time work as well. And we can support with kind of CVs and work experience and things like that. So moving on to our societies, I believe.
Yeah, I was just going to mention, Richie,
yeah.
So obviously we've talked a lot about the undergraduate placements, but we do also offer quite a lot of placements on our postgraduate courses. So mainly within our schools of science and technology and the business school, a lot of those courses are available as 2-year options. So in the UK, a master's degree is generally a 1-year course, and then you finish and you graduate. But we offer a number of courses which are available as 2 years. So you do either your whole first year of academics, and then you go on to a placement, or you might do the first 2 semesters and then a year-long placement, and then you have a final semester where you kind of do a dissertation or a project, which is basically summarising that placement. So that's also a really great opportunity for people who are looking at a graduate course, a master's, but also want to get some UK work experience as well.
Thank you, Annabel. So moving on to societies. So we do have a students' union, which currently has over 120 societies. I couldn't possibly run through all of them in this presentation. I mean, you can use your imagination. There's so many different options. So if there's something that you do back at home that you want to continue in Nottingham, you know, there may be a society related to that, or you may want to try something completely, you know, different or out of your comfort zone. So would definitely encourage you to approach our students' union and have a look at what is available, because it's a really great way of getting to meet new people and getting to try something new if that's what you want to do. I'm trying to think of some kind of zany societies, Annabel. What would you think? What would you put as the kind of most different society?
Yeah, there's lots of sports societies, there's lots of international societies. So we do have like an Africa society. And then there's also some, like you said, some niche ones.
Yeah.
I think there's like cosplay. I don't know if that's probably not that niche actually, but there's things like cosplay. There are ski and snowboarding societies. There's French film societies. So lots of different things. And then, for example, if you have an interest which you're really passionate about, and perhaps there isn't a society for that, then you can also make that society as well. So you could do that, and you could form a group. So I don't think we specifically have a South Africa society. So for example, if you wanted to make that, then you could do that, and you could increase the number of our societies. So yeah, they're a really key part, I think, to the kind of whole university experience, as Richie was saying.
Definitely, I would definitely encourage you to get involved in those. And I know Annabel mentioned the kind of sports societies as well. NTU is in one of the top 15 universities for performance sport in the UK, in the British University Competitive Sports. So if you do compete in a certain sport at a high level, for example, a regional or a national level, then you know there's lots of different opportunities for you to get involved. Likewise, if you aren't so competitive and you don't compete at a high level, but you do want to get involved in sports or just play for fun, there's so much on offer at NTU in terms of that aspect as well. There's lots of different kind of fitness classes, as Annabel mentioned, on the campuses. At City and Clifton there is a gym, and at Brackenhurst there's a local nearby gym at which you get a discounted rate as well. So there's lots on offer, and we do encourage you again to get involved with these, because it is a really, really great way to get to meet new and like-minded people.
Yeah, and I think it's important what Richie said about there is teams available at all levels. So don't be put off by the fact that, you know, maybe this picture kind of is quite daunting. It's in a stadium, but this will be part of the books league that we do, that Richie mentioned. But yeah, you try out at the start of the year, and there's lots of different levels that you can get put in, where you can just play for fun. You can book out one of the sports courts for five-a-side or whatever it is that you do. So don't feel like you have to be fantastic at sports. That being said, if you are fantastic at sports and perhaps you represent your country or something like that at the moment, we do actually offer sports scholarships. So you could have a look into that if that's something you're interested in. We can tell you a bit more about that perhaps in the discussion if anyone's interested. But yeah, it's for all levels, not just professionals, like we can see. So over to me, I think. So support at Nottingham Trent. So Richie's kind of mentioned about our employability. So we have a really fantastic employability team, and what I would say is that the way our courses are structured and the way all of our courses are designed is that they're designed to make you as employable as possible once you've graduated. So yes, our courses are a lot about academics and things like that, but what we really try and do is structure them so that you have lots of different opportunities. So whether it's a year-long placement, whether it's a shorter placement, or whether you choose not to do a placement at all, maybe you know, you would rather graduate and finish early, that's fine. You can still get industry experience, and that's because the course is very industry led. So in some cases, members of industry will have helped to design the course. So said, we want to see this from graduates, and we've adapted our courses to that. So we're always reviewing what we offer. We have industry-led modules where someone from industry will come in and they will perhaps set a project, and you go away and work as a group or either as an individual. And it's almost like a competition. So you come back and you present what you've done, and then they will judge who's kind of done the best and things like that. So there's all sorts of different opportunities in terms of employability. And if you are interested in doing a placement, or even if you're just looking for a job, a part-time job, or afterwards as a graduate, because these services are available to students for up to 3 years after they've graduated, then the employability team can help you with various different things. So for example, your CV, so writing your CV and kind of self-marketing materials. So I guess everyone probably knows how important things like LinkedIn profiles are these days and things like that. They can help you to put those together. They can do mock interviews with you, so interview practice specific to your chosen field. And like I said, we can also help you in finding part-time jobs. So we have something called the Job Shop. So you can go there and we can help you with that. You can work up to 20 hours per week in the UK if you're on a UK visa. So you can do that during term time, and outside of term time, it's unlimited. And then, like I said, we can help you with a graduate job or a placement. So this is all our employability team kind of in person, but we also offer extensive online support, and that's available 24/7 for our students. And then in terms of accommodation, we obviously offer support for students looking for accommodation. So we have a dedicated accommodation team. So if you are looking for accommodation, I'm not just talking about if you come to NTU, if you're just looking at the UK and you want accommodation, then we would really highly recommend that you secure your accommodation before you arrive in the UK. We have experience of students arriving in the UK and then thinking, oh, I've not organised anything. So it's really important that you do use the service of either NTU or whichever university you go to secure that. And like I mentioned, we have on-campus accommodation. So there's NTU accommodation. So it's a selection of mixed and same gender accommodations, 24-hour security, and everything's included, like your bills and things like that. So we can help you with that. Or you might choose to live in private accommodation. So depending on what your kind of preferences are and your needs or your budget and things like that, then there's also private accommodation as well. So we can help you with that to a certain extent. We have certain partners with private accommodation, or we can point you in the right direction of search engines and things like that. So I think that's it from me. So back over to Richie to talk a little bit about finances.
Thank you, Annabel. Okay, so just talking about finances, obviously it's going to be a really important question in terms of costs and scholarships and things like that. So just to touch on the fees, so undergraduate courses for 2021 and into 22, the undergraduate courses are split into different schools. So if you're looking at an art and design course or a business course, a course in the business school, sorry, it will be £15,800 per academic year. And for all other undergraduate courses, it would be £15,200. Our postgraduate courses start at £14,500 per year. And the placements that we mentioned, whether undergraduate or postgraduate, that would add an extra £1,385 for the placement. In terms of scholarships, we do have a really, a wide variety of competitive scholarship package. So those start at £2,000 per year of study, anywhere up to 50%, and this is on tuition fees. We do also have the Sub-Saharan Africa Siblings Loyalty Reward. So if, for example, you have a family member, a sibling that has studied at NTU, then we will award 25% for the first year of study, reduction on fees. Or likewise, if you are twins, for example, you would be eligible for this award also. So we do have a really competitive offer in terms of scholarships. We would encourage anybody that does have an offer with us to go ahead and apply for those scholarships. As I've mentioned, they are competitive. So we have various deadlines throughout the year. I believe the final deadline is at some point in June. And what you need to do basically is to go ahead onto our website, complete the online form, which has 3 questions. And we just encourage you to answer those questions to the best of your ability. And that will then be assessed by the academic and the scholarships team. I don't know if you've got anything that you want to add, particularly to that, Annabel?
Yeah, I was just going to add in terms of the fees. So you mentioned the placement fee, which is £1,385. So that's whilst you're actually on your placement. So it's kind of like an admin fee, and you will also get someone from your course, like your tutor, who will come out and visit you maybe once or twice, and you'll also get access still to all of the university. including all of the kind of like online journals and resources and things like that. So that's what that fee is for. But what's really important to note is that you do get a salary for your placement. So I forgot to mention that earlier. So these are paid placements. So that's obviously a bonus. And usually they start anything from £13,000 for the year's salary and upwards. Some people, obviously, if they've got a very good placement, maybe it's £30,000. I have heard of students secure really, really good placements. They're with some huge companies. So I'm just trying to think for examples. For example, if you're doing mechanical engineering, it might be with Rolls-Royce. They're based in Derby, who are near us, and we know we've had students on those as well. So yeah, that's just an important thing to note, that obviously it's fantastic in terms of kind of experience and helping you to be more employable once you've graduated, but also you get that salary whilst you're working as well. And then just in terms of scholarships, I'd just say that obviously it's fantastic in terms of you get a tuition fee reduction, so it's a monetary value, which is great. But the scholarship is also kind of like a scheme as well. So we run an ambassadorial scheme, which is alongside the scholarship. So if you are awarded a scholarship, then it's much more than just kind of the money side of it. So you would be included, and you'd get kind of first notice of any events that we do and things like that. We often offer placements within our own international development office. So it might be like a short work placement, marketing or something like that, but you would get first dibs and first notice that that's available. So there's lots of different advantages. And then the picture that you can see here, back when we were allowed to see people, this is from one of our scholarship awards evenings. So what we do is we have a scholarship awards evening. Once you've started, it's normally in around, I think, March or April, something like that. So everyone gets together who's been awarded a scholarship. You get an official certificate, which is handed to you by the Vice Chancellor of the university. And then we have guest speakers, there's food, there's drink. So it's a really nice, like, prestigious event as well. So yeah, basically, I would just recommend that if you do apply to us, then definitely have a look at the scholarship opportunities, because it is much more than just a fee reduction. And I think that was it on fees and scholarships. So back to you, Richie.
Thank you, Annabel. So yeah, just to conclude, obviously, if you've got any questions, we're more than happy to try and answer those for you. But this is just our Team Africa. So there's 5 of us in Team Africa. We each look after kind of different areas within sub-Saharan Africa, but you can contact us directly by emailing africa@ntu.ac.uk. And as we all monitor the inbox, we can get back to you very quickly with a response to any questions that you've got. So I think we'll just hand back to George. But I don't know if any questions have come through at all.
Yeah, we've got quite a few questions that have come through, pinged to me, and anybody else that is on this webinar and would like to ask questions, please put them in the chat box and Q&A, and we'll go through it. If you want to leave your one presentation on Annabel at the end there, people can see the contact details.
Yeah, sure.
You put that on there. I wanted to ask you both, as there's such a multi-campus of NTU in the area there's such a variety that's on offer. What's the one place to you both that stands out that you guys like the most? Is it on campus or just off campus? What's one area you'd recommend a student to go check out?
Who wants to go?
That's a really good question. I'm just thinking now what my favorite place is. I'll start with on campus. I would say on the city campus, I really like the Global Lounge. I'm sure Annabel will agree, but this is a space for it's for all of our students, but it's aimed at the international students, to give them a space to go and kind of relax or study or meet friends. But there's also lots of different events going on within the Global Lounge. So they do like language cafes, so it gives you a chance to go and learn a new language, for example. But it's also got like ambassadors and students support on campus as well in the Global Lounge. So if you've got any questions, and it's just kind of an informal setting in which students can go and just chat to different people. It's got a really nice relaxed vibe. So I think on campus, that would be my choice. I'll hand over to you, Annabel.
I think you missed the most important thing about
I think I did, didn't I?
Is that there's free food there. So yeah. every week they offer like a different international cuisine, and it's free, obviously. And so we have queues and queues of students who gather there to try out all the different stuff, including us as well, so we can go there and do that. So they do offer that, but they also each year, I think in March, they offer, they put on Global Week, which is a huge culmination of everything that they do. So it's a week-long event where it's split up into different continents. So we'll have an Africa Day, and all the students will come in, and there'll be a representative, like a group representing South Africa, for example. They'll have a booth, they'll bring in traditional food, music, dance, whatever else that might be traditional. So for example, for India, they'll do henna and things like that. So it's really nice, and everyone really gets involved. And I'd say that's probably the favourite time of the year for most of the staff, but also students, I think. So it's just celebrating all the diversities, because we have, I think, over 150 different nationalities with our students and our staff. So yeah, I would agree with Global Week. I think that's a good shout. Sorry, the Global Lounge. In terms of my favourite place, I would say I'm an animal lover, so I would say Brackenhurst, because it's just beautiful. Like I was saying, it's set amongst kind of hectares of land of countryside. There's a working farm and all of that. So it's just really nice to go. And like I said, you don't have to be studying one of these courses there. You can just go over and just spend the day there with your friends and things like that. And then in terms of off campus, I would say there's an area called Hockley, which is full of lots of independent shops and places to eat and things like that. So that's really, really nice. It's kind of like cobbled streets. And Nottingham was originally famous for lace. So we in the, I'm not very good with dates. I think it's like the early 1900s. We were the biggest exporter of lace, and that was what we were famous for. So I think in, oh God, I'm showing my sad knowledge, but I think Kate Middleton's wedding dress had like Nottingham lace in there. So yeah, we're still famous for that, and that used to be what the area was. So in Hockley, so there's lots of old buildings which used to be lace factories, and they've all been converted into nice little shops and boutiques and restaurants and things like that. So yeah, for me, that's probably my favourite area, I think.
I think I would actually have to agree as well. That's my favourite area in Nottingham. There's so many hidden things as well, like kind of like hidden bars and things like that down kind of little alleyways. It's just a really cool area. And I think, just to add on that, I think Nottingham's got quite a big music scene. So in normal times, like there's lots of different music events going on. So if you're into music, it's a really great place to see lots of different bands and artists. So yeah, that's a good shout, Annabel. And I know you mentioned Brackenhurst. And getting to each campus is really easy, because there are buses that run between each campus really regularly. So if you did want to go to Brackenhurst for the day, for example, it wouldn't be difficult for you to organise, because there's a campus bus that runs between all of those different campuses. So yeah, just encourage you to kind of not just stay in the one place, but explore a little bit wider and see more of the UK.
Definitely. And I think what's nice about Nottingham as well is that even though it is a medium-sized city, like I said, it's quite compact. So you don't need to take public transport really if you're in the city centre, for example. So you can walk everywhere. You could walk to the station, the train station. You can walk, you know, when you're on a break between classes, you can just walk and go and grab something from a restaurant or go shopping if you need something. So everything is really compact. And I think that's when you're thinking about where you might want to study, I think weighing up what type of city that you actually want. So do you want to go to London and it be really bustly? And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Some people might want that atmosphere, which is great, because you may come yourself from like a small town or something like that, and you may be craving that big city environment. So you might think London. But what I would say is that Nottingham is probably more relaxed. It's got that, it is a, you know, a medium-sized city, so it's got that vibe. It's bustly, it's got great nightlife, but equally it's very easy for students. And I think that's what students like about it, the ease of getting around, the fact that you can get to know the city in probably a week or something like that. And you also see people that you know a lot. So because it's not huge and sprawling, you know, everything's kind of compact and together, you'll be walking around, for example, the city centre or the city campus itself, and you'll see people you know. It's really international. So I think it's just a really nice vibe, and I think that's what students really love about it. They just find that they feel comfortable quite quickly, even though they might be on the other side of the world, I think.
Yeah, no, great. And it's always great to see the little insights that people that are actually on campus can give, especially for new students that are coming to a new area and a new culture and, you know, being thrown in the deep end and finding that. So I think that's great how you guys have explained that. To go a bit further into that, you mentioned a lot about the support structures in terms of employability and helping students, you know, with CVs and looking for work and things. Could you go a little bit more into the mental support as well? I do know Nottingham does a lot in that space as well. And a lot of students are very wary that they are alone now. The pandemic has sort of opened up that can of worms in terms of mental awareness and support, which is great. So we're getting a lot of questions from students on what support do different universities offer. So we'd love to hear about you guys from NTU.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like, mental health is such a big issue these days, and especially with people being more isolated than ever, with self-isolation and quarantine and lockdown and everything like that. And even before coronavirus ever existed, we've always put student support as a really high priority. And we have a great student support team. So that consists of student support, and within that, international student support, and then also kind of like a student itself support system, so student buddies, student mentors, peers, and things like that. So international student support itself is generally kind of visa support and that side of things, but they are also there in terms of welfare. But generally the student support side offers lots of different things like counselling, obviously all confidential. They run different sessions. So if you are, you know, over the other side of the world and you're feeling, whether it's homesick or you're feeling like you're struggling with workload or adapting to like a different environment, for example, because obviously, you know, learning in the UK is probably going to be different to learning in South Africa or wherever it is you're from. There's various different people that you can go to. So that might be that you come to Richie and I as your first point of contact, and then we would probably direct you to we would, you know, maybe go for a coffee with you, but also direct you to somebody in the student support system. And there's also support in your course. So for example, you'll get assigned a tutor, and your tutor will be your point of contact on your course. So if it's an academic problem that you've got, then you can book an appointment with them. It's very much an open door policy, and that's what we always try and push with our academics, that it's a, you know, first name basis, and that you can have a chat with them and you can be very, very open. So yeah, I think there's a really good structure there, and that's something that we're quite proud of. And we want to support our students as much as possible, particularly our international students, because we know that it can sometimes feel quite isolating. What the hope is that by September, so anyone who is watching and is thinking about September entry, we're hoping that it will be very much back to normal, because the vaccine rollout is doing really, really well in the UK. So we're hoping that there won't be the issues with kind of, you know, stemming from coronavirus and things like that, and any isolation. But obviously there's still always issues that students are going to come across and face. So yeah, we do want to support that as much as possible. And I don't know if Richie has anything to add on that.
I mean, I think you covered everything there, Annabel. I mean, I think it was really important when you noted about the kind of open door policy. We don't want you to feel like there's a barrier, like to anything. Like, we want you to feel like you can ask us questions, not just while you're at university, but before during your time, after. We want to support you through the whole kind of process. So as Annabel mentioned, we're more than happy to chat with you. And if it's something like different that you need, we can kind of point you in the right direction and make sure you've got that support, and make sure that you've got a support network while you're at university. So yeah, I think you covered everything there, Annabel.
Yeah, and I mentioned kind of student support itself, like directly from students. So we do offer buddy schemes as well. So that's generally through your course. So if you wanted to get involved in that, then we have people who are in kind of, say, if you're in the first year of an undergraduate course, we've got people in the second and the third year, and you can buddy up with them. So you can always go to them as well. So there's lots of different things in place. So I think the key is asking and being open and things like that. So the good thing about on each campus is, like I said, there is a support team. So as long as you know where they are, then you can go to them and they will point you in the right direction.
Yeah, that's fantastic to see that. And, you know, for any parent that's listening in onto this webinar as well, you know, these are the things that we always look for is, you know, the support structure that's in place. So please do ask your questions in the chat box. I know some people have raised their hands as well, and we'd love to get you to talk, but sometimes the connectivity within Zoom won't allow it. So we're just going to put the questions there, Thundo, if you can, and we'll get into that. I've got a question to you both. In terms of the sporting side of it, for a lot of high achieving athletes, especially out of South Africa, which is such a sporting country, what's the best way for them to go about inquiring what opportunities are out there, and how would that work? Would it be a case of coming through Global Education and then getting in touch with you guys, or can they reach out directly? What's the best way to have that conversation?
Either or, really. We get a lot of inquiries directed to us through Global because we work really closely with you guys. Or you can come to us directly. So that africa@ntu.ac.uk email address, you can contact us on there. And what we'll probably do is direct you through to the sports team. So there's a dedicated kind of sports scholarship team. So obviously South Africa is a big sporting country, and I know in a lot of the schools and everything, people kind of really pride themselves on that, and it's really popular. So what we would look at, if you think, oh, I wonder if I'm eligible to a sporting scholarship, we would ask you, or the sports team would ask you to send us a video of you in action, of you playing. And then we would also ask for a reference from one of your coaches, and they would take it from there. I don't know kind of the full details because it kind of gets handed over to the sports team at that point, but I do know that they offer anything from £500 fee reduction up to, sometimes, if you're very, very good, full fee. So that is an option, but I don't know. I think, Richie, you've had a bit of experience with kind of sports scholarships and stuff. Do you have anything to add on to that?
Yeah, I mean, like you mentioned, Annabel, it depends on the sport that you compete in. So that depends on, you know, effects on the scholarship offer, for example. But I know that it's not just a monetary kind of reward. They do offer extra things in terms of supporting you with your academic side to make sure that you can balance your time and manage your workload in terms of your course. I know the sports team are very keen on saying that the course has to kind of come first. That's why you're at NTU in the first place. But you know, they really want to support you to have the best balance of both. And in addition to that, I know that they really do a lot of things in terms of kind of with your strength and conditioning and things like that, and making sure that you have regular sessions and kind of health checks to make sure that you're in kind of full health. I don't quite know how to explain that in words. Annabel, help me out. But yeah, there's a whole package basically to make sure that you're performing to the best of your ability, and we're supporting you as much as possible to pursue kind of your course, but also your sports goals as well. But yeah, it's looked at on a very individual basis. So Annabel and myself can point you in the right direction if that's something that you're interested in exploring further.
I'm probably the least sporty person that you could come across. So I'm glad that you knew a little bit more about it than me.
Yeah, it's great. And I'll just add from a global point of view on that as well as, you know, it is the course that you are going for an academic process to go and study, you know, especially joining a university. So I do recommend anybody that is looking at NTU or looking at any university, apply as soon as possible, get all the information straight away. There's so much information out there and you can get lost in it. So please reach out to us, reach out to NTU and have those conversations.
What I would add, sorry, just really quickly, George, is that we do offer also academic sports courses. So, for example, at undergraduate level, we have a suite of sports courses. So things like exercise, nutrition and health, sports management, I think sports coaching and things like that. So there's a number of different courses. So if someone is really into sports and want to pursue it academically as well, then that would be perfect for you. And they are based at Clifton Campus. So that's the campus where all of the sports pitches are and everything like that. So that's perfect for you. So yeah, I just wanted to mention that.
No, great. Yeah, and we'll have all of this recorded and shared out with everybody as well. So these people can have something to reference to as well. Thando Luetho was asked a question here, and I hope I pronounced your name right, so forgive me, Thando. What is the name of the city campus?
That's the name. It's called City Campus. Yeah, it's not a very original name. Yeah, it does what it says on the tin. It's City Campus.
And that campus focuses on?
So there's business school, art and design, architecture, design and built environment, the law school, the Centre for Broadcast Journalism, social sciences. Have I missed any, Richie?
No, I think you've covered them all there. I was kind of counting them off on my finger as you said. But yeah, you've definitely covered them all.
It is the main campus. That's where the most students are. That's where the most schools are based. So yeah, it's all based there. But we've got amazing facilities. So for example, just thinking about the Centre for Broadcast Journalism, we have our own TV station there. So we broadcast from there. It's called NOTS TV. And students who are studying journalism, broadcast journalism, will, you know, be in charge of that. Will be in charge of that station. So we have a TV station with all the studios. So the students are also kind of producing and things like that. And then we have, I think, 3 or 4 radio studios as well. So in terms of facilities, it's absolutely fantastic. And this is all in the city centre. So you would never know, if you weren't a student, to walk around Nottingham, you'd never know that all of this existed. So yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. And then in terms of the law school, we have Replica Law Courts. So we do mock trials, we do mooting and debating. So they're exactly the same as a normal law court in the UK, but just scaled down versions. So that's pretty cool. So students like to be in there. They get to wear the wigs. I don't know if do you have the wigs in the law courts in South Africa, or is that just us?
Yes.
Yeah, because sometimes people are surprised that they actually still wear those. Yeah, so you get to dress up and do all of that. In terms of art and design, we have amazing facilities there. So if you are into photography, then there's lots of different studios. You can rent the cameras, which go up to kind of £40,000 cameras and stuff. So yeah, the city campus is vast in terms of the different courses offered in the different facilities.
Yeah. The next question we've got is, do you offer veterinary as well in that campus? If you could explain a little bit more about that campus again. This is from Eleanor on the chat group there. So she's asking what campus deals with veterinary, and I'd like to ask and add to that for everybody is, do you offer veterinary, and what type of other courses do you offer in that sort of field?
Yeah. It's a bit of a complicated one with veterinary science. So we do offer it, and that is at our Brackenhurst campus, so the campus with all the animals in the countryside. So we offer a foundation in veterinary nursing, but that actually is only open to students who don't require a visa, because of the kind of level of the course. If you have to have a visa, it's not actually eligible to you. But I know quite a lot of people from South Africa, they may have like a British passport or something like that. So if you don't need a visa, that would be an option for you. And then we do the BSc, which is kind of like a top up. So you would do this 2-year foundation, and then you would do the top up BSc. So we do offer that, but if that's not accessible to you, we offer other courses like zoo biology, animal biology. I'm trying to think of the other courses to do with animals. We do things like wildlife conservation. So there's various different courses that we do offer, which are animal related. Have I got that right, Richie?
Yeah. No, you've covered it all there, Annabel. Yeah, and obviously it's on the Brackenhurst campus, as we showed you earlier. It's a really, really beautiful place to study and to live, and it does have a town which is 5-10 minutes walk, I would say, out of campus maybe. And it's got everything that you could possibly need there, like the gym and swimming pool and shops and things like that. So it's a really, really nice place to study as well, if the course that you're interested in is based there.
Yeah, and it's not just animal studies. So there's also things like geography. I mentioned wildlife conservation, there's geology. There is, if you're looking at master's level, there's things like global food security and development. So yeah, there's quite a wide range of courses available within that school.
Brilliant. It looks like Nottingham has got so much to offer there, especially to students that are looking to sort of explore what they would like to do. What would be your one big takeaway to a student that was probably like me when I was finishing high school? They had no idea what they wanted to do, but were set on coming to the UK, and you were trying to convince them to NTU. What would be your big sell point to them?
I'll go first. I think mine would be kind of the way, I've touched on this a bit before, but the way our courses are structured, in that it isn't just about academics. And I know that's a bit of a weird thing to say, because obviously the priority is that you're going to study, and that is the priority for us, but I just mean it's not closed to just that. So the way the courses are structured, like we've talked about a lot, you might have the opportunity to do a placement. You might do study abroad. So we have lots of partner institutions. So maybe that's in Europe, or it might be further afield. So you could go and do study abroad. You could learn a language as part of your course. So we run things like university language programs, which you can do alongside your course. Depending on which course it is, it might be an integrated module. What else do? We offer lots of unique opportunities. So usually when you get into your second year, things become a lot more flexible. So the first year is often about learning the foundations of whichever course you're on. There will probably be some optional modules, but when you get to your second year, that's when it really comes alive in terms of how you can tailor the course to what you're interested in. So for example, you might be able to choose, if you're doing a business course, you might be able to choose between doing a placement, between studying abroad, between doing something like an enterprise project where you are in a group and you set up your own business and you try and make a profit and things like that. Or you might do, if you're more into kind of like academic writing, because everyone's different, and that's what we try and realise, and that's what we try and put in the way the courses are structured. So you might want to do something which is individually based and is like a case study of a business or something like that, and you do a big report on it because you want to develop your academic writing skills. So there's loads of different options. For example, if you're doing a law course, you could choose to do the legal practice, the legal advice centre pathway. So in your third year, we have one of the biggest legal advice centres in the UK. What that means is it's a free place for members of the public to go and to get free legal advice, and that would be from you as a student. So everything that you've learned in your first and second year, you're putting into practice. So the best students on the law course can choose to do that pathway. So they pretty much get work experience in their third year once they've graduated. And so once they've graduated, they can say, well, I've worked in a legal advice centre. So there's loads of different options that you can do. So yeah, I would say the way it's structured, the fact that a lot of the courses are very, very practical. So even a course like law, like I said, you think of law traditionally as very much writing and reading intense, but we have those types of opportunities. But then our courses, for example, science, like I said, they're 30 to 40% practical. If you're doing art and design, it's very practical. And a lot of the courses assess you kind of majority coursework. So if you're not someone who loves exams, you would prefer to be assessed in different ways, we also appreciate that as well, and we try and mix up the way we assess people. So it's never going to just be through written exams. There's going to be coursework, there may be some exams, there may not be exams, there may be assessments based on group projects or poster projects, poster presentations, and practical lab sessions and things like that. So yeah, I would say that the way we approach our course is to make it as tailorable, is that a word? Or you can tailor the course to what your strengths and what you're interested in and what you want to develop and what you want to get out of it. So yeah, that is what I would say. What would you say, Richie?
I would say Nottingham as a place of study. So I really like your points, Annabel. Like, I agree with them completely. Obviously, for students that are interested in studying in the UK, it will come down to the place, and I think Nottingham is a great place to live and to study. As Annabel mentioned, it's a medium-sized city, but you can kind of navigate your way around quite easily. The city centre is quite compact, so you can really feel at home quite quickly, I would say, especially with the university support. Aside from that, the location itself, as Annabel mentioned, in the middle of the UK, you can still reach London in less than 2 hours. There's trains going, probably a couple of trains every hour. It's a direct train, so it is, if you want to explore more of the UK, being in the middle of England is kind of the perfect place to be to kind of explore all of that. That's one of the big things I would say, is that, for example, if I was going to go and study in South Africa, I just wouldn't, I wouldn't just want to stay in one place. I would want to explore further and learn as much about that culture and see as many sites as possible. So Nottingham and its transport links and location, I think, is great. But also the city centre itself, it's got a lot to offer. There's lots of students, so it has a very big student vibe. But also, likewise, for those people that want to go and kind of sit in the park or explore kind of like local nature and things like that, there's Sherwood Forest nearby. Lots of places to go and kind of walk and explore. But there's also lots of parks in Nottingham as well. So on those sunny days, after lectures, after class, you can just go and find somewhere to chill with friends, take a picnic. And I would say that's Nottingham's selling point, because it has like everything to offer. But at the end of the day, Annabel will agree with me here that you've got to make the right decision for you. So I think you just kind of get that vibe when you hear from different universities about what suits you and what matches your kind of personality, but also what you want to study. And I think, for a lot of people, Nottingham, it could feel like home quite easily.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're all nodding our head, agreeing with all of those points. I've just been pinged by the team here who's listening in on this webinar as well, and we're all agreeing, it's not just what you study, it's where and how you study. So I think you both hit two real major points there. And I do hope all the students that are listening in on this, whether you're watching on YouTube or seeing the direct through the newsletter as well, please reach out to Annabel and to Richie through Global as well. We're always here to help and have these conversations. I don't see any more questions here, and I think you both have covered a lot of information here, and I think we could end up talking for another hour. I can't believe an hour has shot by. Thank you, Thundas. We just saw your message. It's been very informative and I've enjoyed it. We really appreciate that. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
So yeah, I think you guys have covered, and Annabel and Richie, I think you've covered a lot of information here, and we could have spoken for another hour. I can't believe an hour is shot by so quickly.
It's gone dark in the interim. I had to turn the light on.
Yeah. Do you have any? I'm trying to think here before how we end this webinar here. I'm happy to end it how it is, but oh wait, there we go. Another question. Oh, that's from Raphael from our Harare office. Thank you for the presentation.
Hi,
That's great. Great to see Zimbabwe here on the webinar as well.
Yeah, we've talked a lot about South Africa. We've kind of not touched on Zimbabwe, but obviously the same goes to all of our Zimbabwean students and inquirers and things like that.
maybe before we end, go a little bit more into requirements in terms of matric being accepted, A levels and O levels out of Zimbabwe. Is there anything that students should be aware of in terms of applying from a requirement point of view?
We're quite, I was going to say, there's nothing that too important they should be aware of in terms of what isn't accepted, because we do accept most qualifications from South Africa and Zim. So the matric, we accept that. What we ask for generally is, it's quite an easy one to remember, is just an average of 5 in your major subjects from the matric. And then obviously if there is a subject specific thing, we keep talking about animal sciences, don't we? We do a lot more courses than animal sciences, but it's just the forefront of my mind. Yeah, you'd need, for example, biology with a certain level. We accept the matric English, so you don't need to take an IELTS or another test or anything like that. What else? If you're looking at a postgraduate course, then we accept South African undergraduate courses. So you might see maybe on NARIC, if you've ever heard of NARIC, it's a qualifications equivalency, or you might see at some of the universities that not every university accepts South African bachelors, but we do, as direct entry to a master's course. Most of our courses ask for a 2-2, a second lower. Some of them will ask for higher than that, but you can see on the course page. In terms of Zim, we accept the Zim Cambridge A level, and we also accept the English as well, so you don't need to take an additional English language test. So we're quite flexible. If you do have any specific queries, I know some people might have taken like some kind of diploma or something a little bit different and you're not quite sure, then we do have the information on our website. But obviously the easiest thing, you can just contact Richie and I at africa@ntu.ac.uk. So yeah, I think entry requirements for Southern Africa are pretty straightforward, I would say.
Right. Got another question from Rafia, and this is about the bus pass. And again, it goes to what students are asking for all the time. It's not just about the academics, but what life is really like there.
Yeah.
You mentioned that they get a bus pass. Do they pay for it? Does it come out of their fees? Or is that provided by the university?
I should have said that actually. So it's not free, but it's a very good deal. So I don't know exactly this year, but it's around the kind of £200–225 mark for the year, and that's unlimited. So you buy that at the start of the year, and then that will see you for the rest of the time. So you can go between campuses as much as you like. But yeah, I don't know the exact figure, but that is an additional cost to you.
That's a huge saving comparing it to London, just traveling and getting around in London as well. You know, so it's huge. And I think these are the things I think you both reiterate with studying at Nottingham, that it becomes a case of, you know, not just the course structure or a costly course to do, but the whole experience could actually end up being a lot more economical than studying in London, especially in today's age where we're all very finance sensitive with traveling with this pandemic. I think I do appreciate both of your points on that as well.
Yeah, I was going to mention actually earlier that, yeah, I mean, in terms of as a city, Nottingham is a very affordable city as in terms of a student city. So in comparison to London, I would say there is no comparison. It's much more affordable. And in comparison to other cities, it does really well and holds up really well in comparison to other cities. And for example, yeah, transport. I mean, if you're based on the city campus in terms of academic wise, you don't really need to pay for any transport. If you're based on one of the others, then you've just got that £200 bus ticket. So yeah, we're really affordable. And as I said, because it is such a student focused city, everything's set up for students, and all the like eateries and shops, they are always having student discounts and things like that. So every penny counts. And that's also why we've got our robust scholarship scheme in place as well. And so that's why we also say, you know, Richie said, do have a look at that and don't just think, oh, I don't think I'll be eligible to a scholarship, because there's no reason why not. And I would definitely encourage you to apply for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, really good. Thank you very much to the both of you. Really appreciate this. And I think we can end it here. I think otherwise we can keep going. What do you think? I think we're all good here.
Yeah, we've probably covered most things. And as we keep saying, we're here to help. So, you know, any questions after this, or you think about in a month's time or something, then you can contact us through that email address, or you can contact Global and they can put you in touch with us.
Yeah. Brilliant. Richie as well, thank you to you as well. And I really do appreciate both your time on this call.
No
to everybody
problem.
watching, please reach out to all of us. It's at george@globaleducation.co.za, or go to the website, have a look at it, and get in touch with us. Please be proactive. It's the time of year to be really proactive. You know, everyone's looking to study abroad, and this is the time to do it.
Definitely, yeah. But you still have got plenty of time, so you know, take your time to have a look around the courses and things like that, and any questions. But yeah, do it as, you know, fairly soon.
Great, guys. Thank you very much. And to everybody, have a safe night and keep safe.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.